What just happened? The whole system has shut down. This is blue, this is blue, this is blue, this is blue. All circuit breakers are on. Green, not in use. Guys, welcome back to another episode. I haven't got time for this today. I need to find out what just has happened. We were just away shopping and I checked the VRM every 1.5 minutes, as I usually do. And all of a sudden, the solar charge controller showed 0 watts coming in. And this was right at noon, so there should be like 4.5, 5.5. Solar production should be at its peak, but there was nothing. All solar charge controllers showed 0 watts. But at the same time, I could still see the pool pump is running and other louds were still getting power. Because my first reaction was the main circuit breaker has tripped. But it can't be. If this one trips, everything is off. There's no power going in or out of the system anymore. So I had a look at all the solar charge controllers in the remote console and I couldn't see anything. They showed full voltage of the solar panels, battery voltage, and everything seemed to be fine. Yeah, this is a screenshot I took at the time. You can see we've got 100 volts on the solar, 0.1 amp coming in, and it's just not charging. It sits on bulk, everything was turned on, but it wasn't charging at all. So the only weird thing I saw was the temperature with -1 degree Celsius. As far as I can remember, I've never seen a temperature in these solar charge controllers. I haven't connected any temperature sensors at all to any of my equipment here. So I went into the settings of the solar charge controller while we were in a shopping center and restarted the solar charge controller. Well, not quite. You only can turn it off and on. And that's what I did. But it didn't make any difference at all. And look at this. Now, none of these solar charge controllers shows any temperatures anymore. Isn't that weird? While before, when you have a look at this one here, you can see the temperatures for all the solar charge controllers showing -1 degree Celsius. Okay, let's connect to one of the solar charge controllers. And the temperature is still -1 degree Celsius. So what I did for all the solar charge controllers, I went into the settings and turned off the temperature control. See down here, the low temperature cutoff is disabled. This one was turned on and is sitting on 5 degrees as per default. And it says up here, this setting only takes effect when the battery temperature is shared by other devices, for example, the BMV in a VE smart network. I don't have a BMV. Okay, so it sits now on 5 degrees. And I'm going back and look at this. It turns off immediately. See? Because it thinks the temperature is -1 degrees and the threshold is... This is exactly what happened. And because all the other charge controllers, they're all listening to the west roof controller. This is like the mothership. I think this is why they all shut off. See, they're all still charging now. Let's go into the pool fence solar charge controller. Battery. Low temperature cutoff disabled. If I turn this back on, goes to 0. It totally goes to 0. Look at this. West roof 0. Pool fence 0. This is exactly what happened and I don't know why. Okay, let's turn this all back on. This was all turned on by default. There, it goes to 0. See? Straight away. As soon as you turn on the temperature compensation, it goes to 0. So we turn this on here as well. See, they're all showing 0 amps going into the battery. Okay, so this is the west roof solar charge controller. This is the mothership. All the other ones listening to this one. If I turn off this solar charge controllers, disconnect solar, and also disconnect the battery from it. So do a complete restart of this solar charge controller. We'll leave it off for a moment. There, it's dying off now. Okay, now let's turn it back on. It's starting up. We give it a moment. Okay, let's connect to it and see if it still shows a temperature. It shouldn't. It still shows -1 degree Celsius, even after a restart. Okay, let's turn solar back on and see what happens. We've got solar, but there's nothing happening. Look at this shit. What is going on? I cannot figure out why this is happening. Why does it show -1 degree Celsius all of a sudden? While before it didn't show any temperature at all. This is new since this noon. But in all 4 solar charge controllers at the same time. See here, this is exactly what I could see as well. 0 watts of the solar charges. Nothing coming in, but the load is still on. And this is exactly how it looks like on the mobile phone as well. 0 watts from the solar charge controllers. And here you can see the East Roof solar charge controller. Here, exactly here. In the middle of the day, current goes to 0, voltage is there. And exactly the same here for the West Roof as well. See how long this took? 12:07 until 12:48. And I turned off the temperature control in all solar charge controllers, and they all started working again straight away, but not the West Roof controller. It wouldn't do it. It just wouldn't do it. Thankfully, I'm watching my system through the VRM every 1.5 minutes, and I found out quickly what is going on. But I still have no idea why this is happening all of a sudden. Here, this is the screenshot I took from the Hyundai shingled panels when they showed 461 watts. No temperature in the solar charge controller. And now if I'm going into the same solar charge controller, look at this, it shows me a temperature there. It shows me a temperature of -1 degree. Something has changed and is affecting all solar charge controllers. Where is the temperature coming from? The only thing I can see here, the warning, this setting only takes effect when the battery temperature is shared by other devices, for example, a BMW in a VE Smart network. Okay, what I want to do is now, I am go into my smart shunt because this is the only battery sense I have at the moment. And I remove this one from our VE Smart network. See the symbol up there? This is the VE Smart network. Go into the settings, VE Smart network, and I say leave network. So now the smart shunt is not part of the network anymore, and all the solar charge controllers should measure their own voltage. Well, they do. You can see the voltage is different now what they measure. They are still not charging. Let's have a look in the West Roof controller again. There's still temperature -1 degree. I'll do another restart of the West Roof solar charge controller. Okay, I'll turn it back on. Starting up. Okay, and the solar. Okay, solar is turned on. And there's no temperature anymore. Look at this. The temperature is gone. And now we should see the MPPT ramping up again. But it's not. Why is it not charging? What is going on? At least we haven't got the temperature compensation anymore. See, low cutoff 5 degrees. But there's no temperature anymore, which is good. That's progress. That is good. But it's still not working. Okay, let's turn this off again and see. Now, see, this is not the problem anymore. Was ist denn hier als für scheiß Viechkram? Okay, let's remove this West Roof controller from the network as well. Leave network. Okay, it's gone. And it should just charge the battery now, right? It should just charge. There should be no reason not to charge the battery anymore. We've got solar, we've got battery, everything is fine, but it's not charging. Look at this, it's not charging anymore. It goes to 8 watts and that's it. It's not charging anymore. Pool fence controller, 120 volts on the solar panels, but it's nothing. It's not doing anything. I turn off temperature compensation, temperature control. See, this one still shows 1 degree Celsius. -1 degree Celsius. But as soon as I turn off the temperature Okay, let me restart this one as well. Turn it back on. It's reconnecting. And the temperature is gone. Look at this shit. So I should be able to go into the settings and turn this one back on as it was by default. I've never touched this setting at all. And we still see the solar charge controller working just fine. It is 100% working as it should be, including the network. Okay, do I have to restart all the solar charge controllers now? See, this one still shows -1 degree. Okay, let me and back on. Let's see if there's any temperature displayed anymore. No, temperature is gone. No temperature anymore. Okay, connecting solar. And it starts charging. So I need to restart all the solar charge controllers, and then they start working again, even with the low temperature cutoff turned on, as it was before. That's how it always was. So they're all working again. East roof. And solar is back. Let's see if this one starts charging as well. Yep, there it is. So we have now from the top the east roof is charging, the Hyundai shingle is charging, the pool fence is charging, but the west roof won't charge. Even this one doesn't show any temperature anymore. It is not charging. So there's definitely something going on with the west roof solar charge controller. This one is not working anymore. Okay, let's join the network again. Join existing, off-grid garage. Okay, something is not right. Here we go. Now we are back, but it's not really charging, right? 17 watts it shows only. What is going on here? Okay, let's bring the smart shunt back into the network as well. Join existing, off-grid garage. Okay, all four are now connected, and the smart shunt is sharing the battery voltage and current. And here we can see in the west roof is not working correctly. It charges only with 22 watts. Okay, I'm going to the extreme now. I'm resetting the west roof solar charge controller. It is not working correctly for some reason. Reset to defaults. Default settings, yes please. We go back into the west roof and import the settings from the east roof controller. And I'm reading through all these forums now. I'm not sure why this west roof controller is not charging anymore. It has the voltage. All the settings are correct. I've reset twice now, imported the settings of the other controller next to it, which is working fine, and it's still not charging. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I don't know. So the only option would be to completely disconnect the controller, take it off, and connect it to our 12-volt battery here and some other solar panels just to do some testing. There's no power on any of these cables. They're completely isolated on both ends, and I've checked twice. Just so before people are commenting. Okay, here it is. What the heck? What is going on here? I tell you what. It has this smelly... You know what I mean? Well, it seems to be working here with a 12-volt battery. I'm not sure if this is correct. I mean, we've got the shading on there on these panels, but this doesn't look too bad. This is far more than I had on the other system. It shows a lot more power now than before with the large array. That looks alright to me. What the heck is going on? So I just reconnected it to all our cables, battery and solar, and it starts working again. What? Yeah, well, it seems to be working only for a short moment. Now it's back to not charging at all. That took like maybe 5 minutes or so, and then it shit itself again. And now it's not charging anymore. So I guess we've got a faulty solar charge controller here. First one ever. No, actually the second one. We had one before. Okay, I have to... What's going on now? Now it's charging again. Huh? It just came back. See, now it's working. Okay, it is now 4:48. And it's working. Let's see how long it lasts. Interesting is also that this one has the correct name, but in the VRM it shows up as 150/70 revision 2. It doesn't have the correct name in here. Okay, it's back now. I changed the name and then changed it back to West Roof, and now it's showing up correctly in the VRM again. Yeah, so far it seems to work again. We can see this here in the VRM as well. See these spikes here going down. This is when I turned off the charge controller to restart it. And here this gap was when we connected it to the 12-volt battery, and it couldn't connect to the VRM anymore. But then it has just done it again like 10 minutes ago, and now it's back. I am still in this developer forum with Victron, so I will report this there and see if this is a known issue with the firmware. Maybe there is actually another firmware available which is not public yet. So the only real thing I can think of is this morning it was cloudy, rainy and everything, and from noon on the clouds went away and we had mostly sunny weather. And maybe it was one of these cloud corner situations, you know, when you have a maximum of power from your solar panels coming in and the solar charge controller overheated or overloaded or over something. The smell is a bit funny. It's not really that burned, but it smells like... Unfortunately, I cannot smell on this one here because it's just too far away. Yeah, they smell the same. Okay, it may not be anything. But yeah, well, so far it is working again. But we have to wait until tomorrow and see what's going on. At the moment it's working fine. I guess I'll let you know if something happens. So I had a very quick look in the forum, and I found that there are new firmware versions available already, which are actually public. And I click on update and it says your product is already running the latest firmware version. But when I have a look online, go into the VRM and I go to device list, which shows me all my devices, and I go down here to firmware update. It scans all your devices against the firmware which is public. And what can we see here? There is a new firmware for all solar charge controllers available, even for the small 150/35s. Even the app tells you you're up to date. Okay, I'm updating all these devices now here. So hopefully these new firmware versions will fix the issue and we don't see this shit again. The east roof is updating at the moment. Okay guys, if there's something new, I'll let you know definitely here on the channel. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I already ended this video yesterday and said goodbye and thank you for your support. But I want to put more context on this whole situation I had on Sunday. So I went back into the developer forum, which I am in with Victron Energy, and I told my story there in all details and provided screenshots as well. And Stephanie also posted a link to a community post just 2 days ago from when this happened to me, from another person which had a similar experience with one of their solar charge controllers, which completely locked down and stopped charging and showing minus 28 degrees or something. I linked this post of the Victron community forum down below under the video if you want to have a read. So thank you very much, Stephanie, for posting this link. So it looks like I'm the second person who has reported this issue now to Victron Energy. So basically the outcome of this post was, well, you cannot have all these solar charge controllers in this Bluetooth smart network connected if you have DVCC on. If you don't know what DVCC is in a Victron system, this pump. Well, this is basically if you connect your smart battery, your smart BMS to the Victron system, and the BMS tells the solar charge controller when to start charging, when to stop charging, how much power to deliver, how much current. So it bypasses the actual settings in the solar charge controller. This is what you can do with DVCC. It stands for direct, what it says here. But I don't have this turned on. Yeah, this is the Victron developer forum I'm a member of. There are around 20 odd people around the globe. In this forum, I'm providing feedback to Victron in regards to new firmware versions. Also reporting bugs, like I just did. And we've got direct access to technical personnel of Victron and also the lead firmware coding team. And sometimes they also provide us with beta firmware to test. And you can download and manually put them on your solar charge controllers and then report back to Victron Energy. They asked me a while back if I want to be part of this forum and provide feedback and help in developing new firmwares and features for the Victron systems. I said, hell yeah, of course. I'm always up for a good test, right? Does it get a bit dark here? Anyway, one of the firmware engineers got back to me today in the forum, and they had a good look and analysis on my system remotely. And I think they also have access to the solar charge controllers through the VRM and can read out more log files, which normal users don't have access to. And he said, well, they can see two things. One of them is they could see the temperature going down to -1 degree Celsius, even there was no temperature sensor or any device with a temperature sensor connected at any point to the system. So they are still discussing my issue and the other issue, which was in the community post. And the second thing he said he could see was when we turned off the low temperature cutoff, and the solar charge controller still wouldn't turn on and start charging. He said there was a slight hardware upgrade at the beginning of 21, because very few people had reported this issue at the time, that the solar charge controller does not start. And he explained it like, if the solar voltage is relatively high, the solar charge controller may not start charging correctly due to an internal hardware, whatever, tolerance issue or whatever. And apparently there was a hardware change at the beginning of 21. Looking at the serial number of my controller, he could see that this one was produced end of 2020. So it was just one of the last devices they produced with this specific hardware, which may be affected by this fault. And this is what I said earlier. I think the trigger point for the solar charge controller to stop charging or to not start charging correctly was the weather situation here with fast changing sun and clouds. And this always gives you relatively high voltage peaks from your solar. And in one of the occasions, the solar charge controller may have decided then to not start anymore. But this does not explain the -1 degree Celsius temperature all the solar charge controllers have shown at the point of time. Oh yeah, and they also explained what has happened with the updates, which we couldn't see on the app, but we could see them on the VRM website. And they said this is a normal procedure what they're following. They're posting these updates first in the VRM, so people who are checking manually for these updates are getting these firmware updates a little bit earlier. And with this, they have a staggered rollout, so only a few people are actually picking up on that. And if there is still a bug in this firmware, people will report this back to Victron, of course, so they can make changes. And then once everything is finalized and they haven't got any negative feedback, any problems reported, they are rolling out the software via the app as well for everyone. And then it prompts you on the app when you want to connect to one of these devices. So there is actually a logic behind why the firmware has shown up in the VRM, but not on the app. Makes sense, right? Okay, guys, I thought I give you these information straight away in the same video here, so I don't want to have a cliffhanger here and make another video or something. So they are working on the -1 degree Celsius temperature and potentially find something in the log files of these charge controllers, rectify the problem and put this in the newest firmware version, which we will all get then, and nobody else will have this issue ever. How fantastic is that? Okay guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all your amazing support here. Thanks for all your donations, hey guys, please don't send me emails anymore. The email situation is totally out of control. I'm receiving like 30 to 40 emails a week. Some people even sending me full design documents and wanted me to have a look over it. I'm totally unable to give you any advice of that. You need to talk to your local dealer, Victron dealer, electrician, whatever. I cannot give you any advice on this. I cannot do your design. I'm not local and know what kind of requirements you have in your specific country then. But I'm trying to reply to as many emails as possible, but please leave all your comments, all your questions. Even if you want to say hello, please leave this all down under the videos. This is where I'm present. And emails are really... I'm rather spending more time here in the garage and making more videos than sitting in front of my computer and replying to individual emails, guys. I really appreciate you getting in contact with me, but I'm unable to reply to all of your emails. I'm sorry. Anyway, guys, until the next video, you stay charged, stay safe, and thanks again for watching. See you then. Bye-bye. Yeah, well, the last 2 days, the Solar Charge Controller has worked just fine. So there was no glitch, nothing anymore. It just worked fine. And we had like, I think 6.8 kilowatt peak today when the sun came out after a rainy, cloudy, cold morning. Amazing. 6.8 kilowatt.